Hello, 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 and welcome everybody. Let me just get my mic down over here a bit so you guys can hear me. How is everybody today? We've got a live hearing coming up. It is set to start at 12:30. Good morning, Nana. I hope you are doing good today. Good to see you as always. So it starts at 12:30. But I wanted to come on a little bit earlier so I could tell you about the documents that have been filed and just maybe talk about them a little bit, because to me, hello, K-Mitch, I find that there's something really odd going on. If you guys have heard me in my last live saying Bryan Kohberger's got something up his sleeve, right? Bryan Kohberger has something up his sleeve. And I think that his legal team, his lawyers, have found out about it and what his intentions are going to be, and they're trying to cover their bases. I think personally, and I'll tell you why in a second. Summer Dawn, hello. Let me get my list so I can get you on the list here. Summer Dawn. As you guys know, I am reviewing the book. Last night I read over 200 pages. So later on today, we might go live depending on how long this hearing is going to be, and that we'll probably go live so I can go over the new stuff that I have found in the book. I do mark it, as you can see here. Once I've showed it to you, like here, you can see I turn the page back over. And one of you are going to win this book. So if you make a donation of $5 or more, a super chat, or through PayPal, or if you are on the replay crew, you can do the little heart underneath each video. If you don't see it, click the three little dots, and it will be there. And if you donate or super chat $5 to the channel, then you go on the wheel. I will be doing the draw live so you guys can see the draw. No funny business. So Summer Dawn, $5. You got one on the wheel. So we've got a few people now on the wheel, and I'm hoping to get through a lot of this in today's session. After the live court hearing, obviously, I will go live and do an update on the 200 plus pages that I've gotten through last night and this morning. And then there'll just be the final 100 or so pages, and I'm hopefully to do that tomorrow and then do the book draw tomorrow. So thank you again, Summer Dawn. I have this book on Audible. I'd like to give my chance to one of our family members, if that's okay. Okay, Summer. If you're drawn to win it, then you can pick who you want to give it to. DK Midnight, hello. Selena, hello. Well, Selena, Summer Dawn is going to be on the wheel, and she will get, if she does win, she will get to choose who she wants to give the book to. So you may still be able to get the book. So no worries. I understand a lot of people, are on really tight budgets. All I ask, subscribe, hit that like, share the video out, and that helps the channel also. So I thank you for that. I see you here often, so I thank you for that. So there's Summer Dawn. If she does win on the wheel, then she will pick somebody who she would like to give it to. I think he's going to claim ineffective assistance of counsel and his rights were violated. That's what I think he's going to do. So, what I'm saying with this is, hang on. I'm going to tell you why I think that, okay? As we're waiting for this hearing to start. At the last hearing where he entered his plea, neither the defense or the prosecution fought really to have this non-dissemination order continued. But then the state said, well, we'd kind of like it until after the aw, you're so kind, Summer. We would like it to stay in place until after the sentencing. So let me show you. The state has backtracked. So let me show you. I'm going to take this off screen now. So there is the book. One of you will be winning it. Let me get this up. And here it is here. The state has backtracked. They have seen what everybody is saying, including the families. They're pissed that they even made this deal or accepted the deal. So the state, in their response to the coalition of the media organizations' motion to be heard as interested parties and motion to vacate the non-dissemination order, comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and responds to a coalition of media organizations' motion to be heard as interested parties and motion to vacate the non-dissemination order, the motion. As set forth below, the state will not oppose the motion. So they are backtracking now. Okay? But the state's response has said, upon further reflection, the state withdraws its request. So they had requested that they keep it in place until after sentencing. So they've withdrawn that now. Now that the defendant has pleaded guilty as charged to I-5 counts of the indictment, his right to a fair trial on the issue of guilt is no longer at issue. I said that, right? You guys know I said that. I says it's mute. They have no standing. Nevertheless, out of respect for the integrity of the judicial process, the privacy of the victims and their family, as they consider their rights to provide victim impact statements at sentencing, the prosecution team does not intend to make any public statements about this case until after sentencing has concluded. So, like hello, Shamna, the families and everything were pissed. Like, they want to know why. Why did you do this? And with every, they have every right to be pissed. Like, two wanted the death penalty. Two didn't. But they have a right to know why. And they have no information whatsoever. And I see it going around that they're saying that the prosecution went to the defense. No, the defense went to the prosecution and said they wanted to enter a plea. The prosecution says, okay, here's our deal. And both sides accepted that deal. But it's the defense that went to the prosecution. Why did they do that? Well, Ann Taylor fought really hard. She did everything she could possibly do to get that death penalty off the table, and she couldn't. So I told you guys months and months ago, all she is doing at this point is trying to get the death penalty off the table and save his life, right? And this just shows that that's exactly what she knew. The evidence was going to convict him. This was her last ditch to try and get the death penalty off the table. The judge refused every other avenue she had chosen, right? So in the defense's sorry for the cough, you guys. I'm still fighting this inner ear infection, and it's horrible. But anyway, I can feel it going down my throat. That's why I'm coughing. But anyway, the state says, or the defense is fighting it. They want it to stay in place. They're saying that even though the fair trial now is mute and it's not going to affect any jury because there's not going to be a jury, they say the defendants are stating that Bryan Kohberger is getting death threats, so is his family, and so are the courts and the court staff and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, Ann, are you getting death threats too? Right? So there's death threats coming in all over the place. um, as well as to BK and his family. Um, like, what is she scared of? What are in these documents that she is terrified of? And I believe that the families, like, this should have been released and the non dissemination order canceled the day that he pled. To me, and I'll give you my reasoning, the families are about to do their statements, right? Their victim impact statements. They have a right to know all the evidence and everything that the state had. And do they have did they have a motive? Did they have this? Like, they need to know so they can make their victim impact statement as inclusive as they can on how all this and what he did and how he did it and why he did it and all this shit. They have a right to know all that, to include it in their victim impact statements, and they've been denied that by the court keeping this non-dissemination order, without legal standing to do so in effect. So all this, she says, all the information that's going to come out once the non-dissemination order is lifted, it's going to make people even madder. There's going to be all hell that breaks loose. Okay, well, now you just pushed it even further, Anne. Let me just get I want to get this back off because I want to watch the courtroom so I know when they're starting. As soon as the court opens, you guys, and is up, I'm going to put it up on screen for you. What is in those documents, you guys? For her to be this terrified, right? She wants, to me personally, she wants to be able to go to this sentencing hearing, his family, his friends, and whatever, go to this sentencing hearing, and Bryan Kohberger himself be in that courtroom without people knowing the full extent of what he did. And she is terrified of them finding out beforehand. Why? What are in these documents? This is a public court, it's a public hearing. This should have been already revoked, the non dissemination order. The public has a right to know as well. Even more so, the families have a right to know before they do their victim impact statements. They need to know the full scope, and they've been denied that. We're going to hear a lot more later on this afternoon, you guys, of what I found in this book. It's horrendous. So there are things that are coming out. Also, she's saying that he still has rights right up into his sentencing to a fair trial. And she says that trial includes the sentencing part, which is, to me, is mute, because the reasons that she gave for it was so they could get a good jury without all the information being out there, and without people knowing in advance all the information and stuff. And to protect the witnesses and that. Well, that's all moot now. There's no reason for it. There's no standing for it. And I do believe that the judge should lift the non-dissemination order today. Is he going to do it? I don't know. And Taylor is bringing up all these points that if you lift it, Your Honor, court staff, they're being threatened. We're being threatened. Bryan Kohberger's being threatened. His parents are being threatened. And if they actually hear all the evidence and see all the evidence and everything he really truly did, and all the things that we don't know that they may have gotten from his parents and his apartment, and once they got the car and everything else, did they find anything more? We've been stopped from finding that out from this gag order, non-dissemination order, and all the filings under seal. What is there that she is terrified of? Right? She also kind of hinted in her paperwork. It's a lot to go through, you guys, so I'm just going to try and, give you the main points of it. She even tried to project that the prosecutor and the judge could be being threatened too, because they agreed to this deal. The judge didn't have to accept it. He did. And the prosecution didn't have to come up with this plea when the defense came to him saying, okay, he'll plead guilty, but we want a deal. And this is the deal that they gave him, and they accepted it. The defense accepted it. And what really irks me, going back and watching that plea deal go down, is Thompson at the end, where he tries to lighten things against Bryan Kohberger. It's like, you asshole. Oh, Your Honor, well, we don't have proof of any sexual intent. We don't have proof that he intended to take off for. We don't have proof. Like, what are you doing, you asshole? This is your time to shine and say, Your Honor, he brutally murdered, and he did this, and he did that, and he did this, and he. Why are you trying to lighten our reactions to Bryan Kohberger? Okay, it is up, you guys. Let me get my headphones on. It hasn't started yet, but let me get my headphones plugged in here. So when it does start, I can hear it too. Okay. Here it is. As soon as it starts, you're going to hear it. Once it starts, you guys, make sure you put one in the chat so I know that you guys can hear it. Otherwise, I would have to adjust the sound on it, but make sure you let me know that you guys can hear it once it starts. We're about 5-10 minutes out. Excuse me, you guys. And I'm gonna state this. I said before that Bryan Kohberger has something up his sleeve, and I think that this is why Ann Taylor is fighting this non-dissemination order being lifted, because I think she's worried. I think she knows that Bryan has something up his sleeve. And one of those things could be ineffective assistance of counsel, because up until sentencing, you guys, he can stand up and say, you know what, Your Honor, fuck this. I'm taking my plea back. I'm not going through with this. I've been filled in by different people and my family and this and that, saying that this, and this, Ann Taylor didn't do. Ineffective assistance of counsel. I didn't truly understand everything that she told me, or I found out more information that she didn't disclose to me, Your Honor. I'm taking back my plea. And they could still go to trial. Right? And even if this does go through, he could still pull something like that, you guys. And I know a lot of the lawyers and everything that are on YouTube, I'm getting the backlash like you wouldn't believe. But I'm telling you, he could still do this. He could still do this. And I showed proof of that. So regardless of whether he waived his right to an appeal or not, all he has to do is say, you know what? You've known, Your Honor, all this time that I've had these mental health issues. I was in a state of robotics and just agreeing because they wrapped it up with a little bow and it sounded so good, but now I'm realizing it's not. They lied, they deceived me. He could say anything. He could fight to be sent to a mental institution instead of the big house because of his mental health issues. He could be using, Your Honor, our last motion. We found more information regarding my mental health that could have seriously changed things, and you didn't allow it, Your Honor. I am taking everything back, and I want to appeal it all now. Because I have mental health issues that should have been heard, and you disallowed it, and my attorney didn't fight harder for it and demand it and all. He is a manipulator. He's not only manipulating his family and everybody else, he's manipulating his lawyers. And I think Ann Taylor may have caught on to some of that. And is that why she filed this motion? To keep this non-dissemination order in place until after the sentencing? I know she's terrified of what's coming out when that non-dissemination order is lifted and all these unsealed documents that have been sealed or unsealed. She's terrified. Is she worried for her own safety? Like, she just did her job. As much as we may despise her, you guys, she did her job. And to me, she did everything possible that she could do, including some off the wall shit that I've never seen a lawyer attempt to do, like bringing up 1800s law and trying to change the way the grand jury indicts and stuff like this. She's tried everything. But I'm telling you, Bryan Kohberger sits there and the gears and the hamster wheel is turning in his head. He sits there like a robot because he's taking it all in. Okay? And we're going to hear, even in the book, how he manipulated people. Okay? Yes, Gene P., he can. Habeas corpus. And yes, he can, you guys. He can take back his plea up to sentencing. And this trial could still go through. He could say today, Your Honor, this is fucked up. I'm realizing I've just got new information and stuff that my lawyer sent me up the river. That's what we call it here, railroading you, sending you up the river to get a better deal on another case. I've just realized she sent me up the river. What she's told me isn't the truth. I thought it was, and now I found out more information, Your Honor, that she was lying to me. He could make up stuff that she said. You know what I mean? And he could say, I'm taking back and withdrawing my plea. Let's go to trial. Even once sentencing happens, he can still pull something, you guys. Believe me, you think he's sitting there just taking it all? To me, I believe that he was trying to be Elliot Rodger, and he is going to try and succeed where Elliot Rodgers failed. If you hang on a sec, you guys. I never wish this ear infection on anybody. But anyway, where Elliot Rodgers failed, he's going to succeed. That's what he's got in his mind. And as we go through this book, and there's more, how everything that Elliot Rodgers did, that's what he did. And Elliot Rodgers was younger than him, right? And that's why I think he's Papa Rodgers, because he was older than Elliot. So he's like, son, I'm going to finish what you started. And it's also in this book that Bryan Kohberger was part of an incel community, right? And Elliot Rodgers claimed to be an incel. He couldn't get anything from a woman if he tried. He was still a virgin, just like Bryan Kohberger. And he feels like where Elliot failed, he's going to succeed. So did he have intentions? And seeing some of Papa Rodgers' posts, he mentioned the sheath before police said anything about the sheath. And if you go back to my video, look it up, Arrest Coming Bryan Kohberger case. I did that on December 9th, before we even knew anything about Bryan Kohberger. And in that reading, it came out that he was somehow associated with WSU, that he was some kind of lecturer or something like that. He gave lectures or something, found out he was a teacher's assistant. A lot of things about Bryan Kohberger came out in that read that a month later, well, not quite a month, 3 weeks later, we found out all to be true. But he, to me, hello everybody coming in, Lori, Carol, Jean, hello everybody. Yeah, and he's that, people are saying, oh, he's so stupid. He's not a stupid guy. He sits there looking like a statue for a reason. He is scoping. You'll see him like a robot turn and look at the defense when they're speaking, look at the prosecution when they're speaking, look at the judge when he's speaking. He's taking it all in. Let me put my phone on mute. He's taking everything in, you guys. He's got a plan. If you think that he's going to go out like this, nope. Carol says, you're always right. I'm not always right. But when I got a strong feeling on certain things and it won't let go, even when I do my morning pulls and I say, okay, this just isn't making sense. Please lead me in the right direction. It's still the same direction. So I know I'm right on this. I'm not always right, you guys. Sometimes I'm only human. I get it wrong too sometimes. And I have. But when my cards and my ancestors just won't give me anything different, I know I'm on the right track. And that's why you haven't seen me with anything more on Summer Wells, on Sebastian Rogers, because I haven't been pulled in any other direction than what I've already given you guys, right? So I'm not always right, but like when I get an email from a police force saying, thank you so much for your help, or from a family that says, Willow, he was found, our loved one was found exactly where you said he would be, or other family members saying, Willow, you were only like 500 meters off. He was found like within 500 meters of where you said he would be. It's like I just got shivers again. But I'm not always right, you guys. Sometimes I'm wrong. If I'm gonna have an off day, if I'm not feeling 100%, I can get it wrong too. I'm only human. But the amount of times that I've got things right, and I also said in that reading in December 9th that he took something from Maddie or Kaylee. And for some reason, I'm still being, even though there's things in the book that lead to Maddie, my ancestors are still telling me it was Kaylee. It was Kaylee that he was zoned in on. Don't forget, he could see in that window, you guys, right? He's seen things 28 times. He could have been out in them trees in the back how many times? Carol says, you were right on my grandbaby too. Yeah, when you guys didn't think your grandbaby was going to live. And usually I stay away from health things, but it was so strong, Carol. And I had to tell you, look at Carol. I'm getting this so strong. Your grandbaby's going to be okay. And thank God, I was right. So even when the doctors were saying no, they don't think your grandbaby was going to make it, I told you he would. It's not me that said it. It was my ancestors that gave me that. So Carol says, I got goosebumps. Susan, hello, Susan. Susan says, hi, Willie, you're human just like us, but you have that special gift. Yes. But like I said, if I'm not at 100%, or if I'm having an off day, like if I'm pissed right off at something else, that could carry in over a read. So that's why if I'm not feeling 100% or I've had an off day, like something has happened in real life for me, I ain't going to do a read because I know that it could set it off. I love you too, Carol. Which topic is that, Summer? You know my memory. I forget what I just said 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Yep. He took something. And I believe it was from Kaylee. And I almost felt like it was like a necklace or something that he ripped off of her, maybe a bracelet, maybe so, I don't know. I have heard that in something else that was leaked that Maddie is missing a ring. So could it be Maddie? Could I be wrong and it is Maddie? I could be, you guys. But my ancestors are telling me no. So, but could I be wrong on who he took something from? Could be. Okay, so they are late. But you see, it is up and we are ready to go. So we are just waiting for court to start. We've got it up on screen. Usually this Judge Schiffler, is usually right on target. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let me refresh it. I don't think that's going to do anything, but let's refresh it. No. It is still the same. And I will bring that back up. There we go. Let me just go over here. Give me a second, you guys. Let me just go see over here for a second. All right. What is this? Yeah. If I disappear, you guys, we've got a severe weather alert. We got a tornado warnings and everything that was sent out. Excuse me. I'm just checking on that right now. Just see what it says because I just got another one. Oh boy. Okay, conditions are favorable for the development of dangerous thunderstorms that are capable of producing damaging wind gusts and torrential rain, as well as tornadoes. Wind gusts of up to 100 kilometers an hour and torrential rainfall with amounts exceeding 50 to 100 millimeters. A tornado is very possible. So this is happening all afternoon here, you guys, where I am. So if I do end up losing power, it's going to be bad. We're going to get into that. We did get into part of that in the last live I did on part 1 of covering this book. He was breaking into his friend's place when he was younger. And the parents stopped their child from interacting with Bryan because they just didn't like him. And when they would go out and they weren't home, Bryan would go back and break into their house and steal stuff. But we don't know for sure if he was. I didn't hear anything about driver's licenses and that being taken. We heard that there were cards of some kind and put in a black rubber glove that was found inside a box inside his room. So we'll have to wait to see if more of that comes out in the book, but I haven't heard anything more about it in the book so far. Well, thank you. Yeah, we've only had, in my direct area, we've only had one huge tornado come through here, and that was years and years ago. Summer Dawn says, see, I don't know why my boss Mason was trying to trip. I can mod and deal with the lunch rush. Yeah, if I hear the sirens go off, believe me, I will be going into my basement. Come on, you guys, let's go. Like, did they come to an agreement of some kind? Who knows, right? And this is odd because Judge Hitler is usually like on point, right? Susan says, forget about us, stay safe. Oh, I'm good. If we get a warning, I'm just going to let the computer play and I'll head for the basement. I can usually see it coming in. If I get the siren going off and I get the winds going here. Okay, here we go, you guys. I'm going to mute. Let me
All
know
right.
in the chat, please, if you can hear
on
it.
the record in State v. Kohberger, CR 0124 31665. Present today by video is the defendant in custody with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Barlow, and Ms. Massoth. State is represented by Mr. Thompson, Mr. Hurwitz, and Ms. Jennings. On behalf of the media petitioners, we have Ms. Olson and Mr. Pedersen. today's hearing is to discuss the media's request to terminate the non-dissemination order. The state filed a response indicating it was no longer objecting to that, and the defense did file an objection indicating that they do have a continued objection to lifting the non-dissemination order. I've read the briefs that have been provided by the parties, and I'm going to attempt to shortcut things here a little bit by asking whether the defense, who is the objecting party, has anything additional to add beyond what it had in its briefing before. I don't know that I need to hear from, frankly, the petitioner. I think the briefing was adequate, so let me just start with Ms. Taylor to see if there's anything else she wants to add.
Your Honor, there is not, but if there's further argument, Ms. Barlow will be making that argument on behalf of the defense.
All right. And to be fair, Ms. Olson, was there anything you felt was important to add that was not contained within your briefing?
Your Honor, we would just briefly say in response to the defendant's brief, we certainly understand the expressed concern about the media coverage of their client. We don't think continuing the non-dissemination order helps that at all. It simply continues to limit the ability of the members of the press to reach out to the people who know the most about the case. It doesn't obligate them to say anything. We also understand that they expressed that there was a due process right related to the sentencing. I read the case that they submitted. I think that there is obviously a due process right at sentencing, but I don't think that case is really it doesn't provide any guidance to the court here, because that was about information provided to the court. And given the very limited scope, and we understand it's very important, but given the very limited scope of what's to be decided at the sentencing, we don't think the arguments that Mr. Kohberger made should outweigh at this stage the First Amendment rights of our clients. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, in light of that response by the media outlets or interested outlets, Ms. Barlow, do you want to add anything?
I would only say, Your Honor, as this court is well aware, the publicity in this case is so extensive and emotions are already so high that adding fuel to the fire of media interviews or a rush to interview people as they leave the courthouse or enter the courthouse would only increase the concerns that the defense has. And even though the plea has a specific sentence attached to it, as this court is well aware, things happen in plea hearings and, sentencing hearings. And to minimize the possibility of that, we request that this order stay in place.
All right, thank you. All right, as the court has considered the petition, frankly, the court was prepared at the time the plea was entered to lift the non-dissemination order in order to give the parties time to evaluate that and to ensure I wasn't missing anything. When both sides objected, I agreed to continue the non-dissemination order. I also indicated that I would have the potential to look at that again before sentencing, because frankly, I anticipated the motion from somebody, in this case, the Ms. Olson and her clients, was likely to be coming. And at this point, I do not believe the purpose of the non-dissemination order, the primary purpose, which is to ensure that we can seat a impartial jury, is any longer at play. The concerns identified by the defendant, while certainly not to minimize those, they are concerns and they are significant concerns. I do not think, however, the non-dissemination order and the right of the public to information is outweighed or outweighs those rights, I should say. And frankly, I don't think that lifting the non-dissemination order will meaningfully impact those concerns. I mean, the media frenzy, as it has been described, will continue regardless. It is a little bit like water will find low ground. In this case, the media is going to write about something regardless about this case. The lifting the non-dissemination order does not require the council or others who were previously bound by it to speak. And the state has indicated that they don't intend to until after the sentencing. And certainly I would hope that the media interests would respect those positions and give people the space that they need and request. In terms of, for example, the defendant's family and others coming and going at the sentencing, we intend to have, as we did before, appropriate security measures in place to ensure that they, as well as the victims, are allowed to get in and out unscathed by the media, if that's what they wish to do, or if they wish to speak to the media, they can do that as well. At this point, I just don't think that I can justify the continuation of the non-dissemination order. I think the rights of the public to information in this case is paramount, given the fact that a plea has been entered in this case, and so I'm going to lift the non-dissemination order. But I want to point out what that means and what it doesn't mean. So obviously nobody's required to speak to the media, first of all. Second of all, I want to be clear that the court's prior preservation order to the parties is not lifted and continues to stay in place. And so it's important to understand that those obligations still exist. And then the other thing I want to point out is that by lifting the non-dissemination order, that does not convert sealed documents to unsealed documents. Documents previously sealed by the court are still sealed. Now, I see the media also filed a petition to be heard to unseal everything. I'm denying that outright. The request to intervene, because I think it's premature at this point. So the court will its intent is to, after sentencing, begin the process of reviewing all the sealed material in this case to determine what should be unsealed and what should not be unsealed. That process will include an opportunity for counsel to register any objections to unsealing documents, specific documents, and request to redact certain sealed documents before they are unsealed, or unseal them in a redacted form. I intend to do that in groupings of documents at a time. As I sit here now, my thought is I'm going to start from newest to oldest, because those are the ones that I have the most working knowledge of as to the reason for the sealing of the documents, as well as the content of those documents. And so I think I can get through those more quickly. As we move backward in time, it's going to take further or more extensive review by the court to figure out, to obviously review the content of those documents, listen to those hearings, et cetera, and determine why they were sealed and whether that rationale still is necessary, or that rationale still requires the documents to maintain that sealed status. And so before everybody gets out their pen and paper and sends in public records requests, understand those will be denied for sealed records until they are unsealed. And that process is going to take time. And I'm not talking days, and I'm probably not talking weeks for that to be accomplished. So I hope people understand patience will be required to get through that, as I'm going to have to review those myself to make those decisions. Now, we may be able to speed things up if neither party objects to groupings of documents or specific documents being unsealed. But it's important to review those because those documents may include information that pursuant to Rule 32 are not to be made public, including birth dates, social securities, information about minors and victims, and information that would be essentially inappropriate to unseal, including protection of individuals from undue harassment, et cetera. And so that's just going to take time. In addition, I'm unlikely to unseal much until after sentencing and after the appeals period has run. Now, I recognize the plea agreement includes a waiver of the right to appeal, but as the parties probably know, the U.S. Supreme Court in Garza versus Idaho has indicated the fact that a defendant waives the right to appeal doesn't mean they don't have the right to appeal. And so it may affect the outcome of that appeal, and it may affect the underlying case and the plea agreement, but nonetheless, the right to appeal does not go away because of the waiver. And so I think it's important for that time period to also play itself out to see that it goes the way that I think people intend and expect it to. And so I will be entering an order in the next week or so outlining the process for the review of the sealed records. And counsel will need to maintain a presence in the case in order to review those materials as they are proposed to be unsealed by the court. Because the timeline that I will likely give you will not be, I suspect, extensive as for each group of records. So I might give you 14 days, for example, to provide a response as to a group of, a dozen or a couple dozen records at a time. So just sort of heads up and fair play with respect to that. Any questions by the parties about the ruling today?
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No questions from the defense. Thank you.
So Olson, do you have any questions?
And I don't, Your Honor. I wasn't certain if I was included within the parties. I would just say I think that the court's proposed manner of moving forward on the sealed records will likely largely address our interests, and we appreciate the court setting that out in this hearing today.
Yeah. If certain records after review maintain their sealed status, it would be at that point that I would entertain requests for me to consider that more formally and to have a voice in that. But I think until I've gone through that process, it's premature, which is why I don't intend to take up your motion, your more recent filed motion at this time. So,
Thank you, Your Honor. We appreciate that.
All right. And with that, then we are adjourned. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Your Honor.
There you go. There you go. So I'm going to wait anxiously for all these people that emailed me, that said nasty comments, that I didn't know what I was talking about, and blah, 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 blah. I watched all these lawyers on YouTube and they said he could not appeal. And I told you guys that he could still appeal. And there you go. The judge just said it. Just because he waived his right to appeal doesn't mean that he can't appeal. So there you go. So all those ones that were attacking me and everything, yeah, an apology is accepted. I probably will never get it, but there you go. I don't speak out my ass, and I get it. Like, I do. I get it that these people, take what these lawyers online or, retired people from law enforcement online what they say is gold. And I'm sorry, but I just couldn't agree with them. And I stated that, and I got backlash like you guys wouldn't believe. So it's like, there you go. The judge just said it. Just because he waived his right to appeal doesn't mean he can't appeal. He can. So there you go, you guys. And if you guys want to know the time stamp of when the judge said that, it's around the 44-minute mark into the video. So replay crew, if you didn't hear him say it, you can scroll back to the 44-minute mark of this video, and it's within 44 minutes to 45 minutes, 46 minutes. He says it. Booyah. Aw, thank you, Lori. Like, I get it, though. Like, people are saying, well, you know what? You're in Canada and you don't know what you're talking about. We watch these specific lawyers that are still practicing law here in the US, criminal law, and they say, absolutely not. He's waived all his right. No, it doesn't matter. He can still appeal. And they said no. Well, there you go. The judge said yes, he could. So, booyah. So thank you for that, Lori. And Carol's laughing. But yeah, so what the judge did say, though, is, and I was hoping that everything would start being unsealed, but apparently, and it is, you guys, like, working in criminal justice for over 30 years, I know about paperwork. And I'm telling you, the amount of paperwork in this case is astronomical. It is going to take a long time for them to get through it all. But what I do like is what the judge said is he is going to start at the newest documents first that have been sealed, right? So which means documents that were just sealed this past week and the weeks, preceding that. He's going to go backwards to the beginning. So he's going to start at today's date, which to me is, I like it, because are we going to get some indication as to why the defense went to the prosecution and said, he'll plead guilty, but we need a good deal? We're going to see them documents, right? Awesome. So, yeah, so it's like, he also said, like, I hope to God they don't release the crime scene photos, because I know of one channel in particular that will have no qualms, will do it just for the clicks, the views, the money. I don't make a ton of money, but what I bring you guys is facts. Okay? You can basically take it to the bank. If I say it and I say I stand behind it 100%, like I did 3 weeks ago when I said I stand behind it 100%, he can still appeal. Whether you waive that right or not, he can still appeal, and I stand behind it 100%. And today, the judge just vindicated me. Yes, he can still appeal. And he's going to. He's going to. I'm going to do a reading on what he's going to do. But I want the sentencing to go through. I'm kind of a little bit concerned that he may turn around and take his plea back. I'm still concerned about that. Can I say with 100% that's what he's going to do? No. But my gut's turning a little bit. Like, is this what he's going to try and pull? I don't know. But I know he's going to pull something. Yes, facts, no BS. Carol says, as long as he's in jail, I can curb my curiosity. Thank you, Sarah. Carol says, preparation age. But yeah, and you could see on Ann Taylor's face she was pissed, because the non-dissemination order has now been lifted, so people can talk now. They can say things that are probably in some of those sealed records, and there's nothing that can be done about it. So for the sealed records, I do hope that they keep any photos of the victims and the crime scene under seal. And I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, and I say that because there's a channel in particular that I'm thinking about right now. Actually, there's two that they would show those pictures with not a care in the world of how it's going to affect the victims, the families, anything. They don't care. It's all about money to them. Now, things that are under seal that are going to be released, I'm going to be very cautious. But I think that they'll do a good job of redacting things that shouldn't be in there, like people's personal addresses and phone numbers and birth dates and stuff like that. Great. But as far as the photos of the crime scene and everything, I hope to God they don't. Like, if they show pictures of inside the house, I hope they're blurred, and I hope that the victims had already been removed. So you can't see the gore and everything else, but you can see basically actual photos inside the house that were taken without all the gore and everything. That's not going to please a lot of people, but that's just too damn bad, right? To me, it's all about protecting the victims that aren't here to protect themselves from allowing things like that to be released to the public, and the victims' families. They don't want that plastered all over the internet, right? Right. Sarah, I agree 100%. Yeah, he was squirming a bit in his chair. I took a picture, you guys. Let me just get my junk out of the way here. I took a picture because he was very small on the screen. Okay, so there it is. Let me turn it sideways. But it almost looks like, oh, you guys can't see. Look at it. Almost looks like he's got the biggest smirk on his face. And look at those eyes. His eyes are as black as mine almost. But I mean, I'm anemic. I got severe anemia, so I got black circles, the corners of my eyes. Looks like I got sometimes 2 black eyes, but it's because I'm anemic. But he's not anemic. And it looks like this eyebrow is growing in a lot more than this one. And we seen that he had shaved down his head, got a nice new haircut, shaved down his eyebrows, everything for the last couple of hearings. Oh yeah, she looked pissed. He does, and he's not done, you guys. He wants to be one step up from Elliot Rogers. Also, you guys, there was something else that I wanted to mention. Like when they were mentioning about how many times Bryan Kohberger had been in that area and Ann Taylor was fighting. I think I've said this before. Ann Taylor was fighting about, oh, he likes going for these drives and this and that. Well, it's funny because once the red drums had happened, except for that very morning, a couple hours later, when he went back to the crime scene, he never went back to Moscow again. Ever. Ever. And yet before, he was going like sometimes a couple times a week to Moscow. And all of a sudden, he's no longer going into Moscow because they're not there no more, right? Liver and onions. PK had a smirk on his face. Sickening. Yeah. Nana says this is why the judge should have had paperwork. The judge was ready to lift the non-dissemination order at the plea hearing. And it is the prosecution that requested that they keep it in place till after sentencing. So what he has done is he has lifted the non-dissemination order. So everybody now is free to talk if they want. But all the sealed documents are going to remain sealed until after the sentencing hearing. And they will trickle out slowly. He's going to start with the latest ones and work backwards to the beginning because those are the ones he said he is more familiar with. So he knows what needs to be redacted in those and what ones should still stay under seal. So let's hope that we get a lot more information, but I hope that they keep the crime scene photos under seal. I don't want these certain channels to use those photos and the deaths of these 4 innocent, beautiful kids to rev up money for them. Because there's a lot of people out there that are going to want to see them. I personally don't. And personally, anybody that does get a hold of them and shows them, I got no words. I mean, like, I can see it if there's inside pictures where things are blurred out that you can't even tell what's behind that blur, as long as it's not the bodies. You know what I mean? But if it's just them going through the house to show the inside of the house and what it looked like and the footprint, maybe what they did in the kitchen with dusting the back door, the door locks, stuff like that. I get it. I don't mind showing that stuff, but anything that would be taken with the body still there, there's absolutely no way in hell, and I hope to God the judge does not release those. Yeah, he's smiling with duper's delight. Yep. Yep. There's a couple channels out there, you guys, right now that are just rubbing their hands together and seeing dollar signs. I can't stand liver. I like liverwurst. I am taking these. The doctor put me on these pills. I'll show you what they are. He put me on these Ferromax. So I take those now. And the dark circles around my eyes are starting, but I've got anemia, you guys, so I'm doing everything I can, but nothing makeup doesn't cover up. And that's a lot of the reason why, you guys, I don't show myself on camera. I did in the past, because people can be cruel. Like at 61 years old, I don't need no bullshit. Oh, look at the circles around her eyes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not one to do makeup. I hate wearing makeup. So I don't know. Maybe I will one day come on and just show you guys. But people are cruel on here. I'm telling you, if they don't like you or they're jealous of your channel, they'll go to any lengths just to attack you. He was smirking because he thought the judge liked the 2 honey buns he bribed him with. Oh, PK offered them instead of using them to fix his eyebrows, right? Summer Dawn says, I have a morbid curiosity, I'll admit it. Yes, and that's cool to admit it, you know what I mean? But I also believe in my whole heart every victim should be given dignity and respect. Exactly. And you got to think, like, as much as some people want to see them, just for whatever reason, like, I'm not judging you, but it's like, what I think of, it's, what if it was my child? Do I want my son's lifeless body plastered all over the internet? No. It's just keeping that wound open. And I wouldn't even want to see it. You know what I mean? If it was my child, I wouldn't want to see it. Summer Dawn says, I saw you. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Oh yes, it's done. It's all healed up now. Now I can sit on both cheeks. Yay! I never thought I would be so happy and elated to be able to sit on both my butt cheeks. You know what I mean? But yes, I can use both butt cheeks now. I don't have to kind of sit half on the chair, half off anymore. The burn has all healed up. It's going to leave a nasty scar, but it is healed. So thank you, Jean, for asking. Yeah. Carol too says, yes, I'm curious, but there's a limit. I'm curious too, but there's a limit. I don't, like I said, if they have photos of, say, Xana's bedroom, and they have blurred out the bed area, because now we know from what I told you guys in my last live, from reading the book, that the blood that was running down the outside of the wall, That's because Ethan was right up against that wall, facing the wall when his life was taken. Xana was found face up on the floor, just inside the doorway. So he literally closed that door behind him when he left and left it ajar an inch or so. Now, if they have pictures of Xana's room with those like the bodies have to be gone already, and the areas blurred out so you can't see any red stuff. Okay, because then that's going to give us a visual. Like, I'd love to see photos of Xana's bedroom at home, like before this happened. Because what I've learned about Xana, and like I said, I'm not going to give it all away, what's in the book, you guys, but I have a new outlook on Xana and her feistiness and her I don't take no, and I follow rules, but I don't follow rules. She's like me. She pushes it right to that line, but doesn't cross the line. And the things I found out about Xana in this book was just I was smiling as I had tears coming down my eyes. You know what I mean? She was just amazing. She wasn't just beautiful, you guys. She overcame things in her life that she had every reason to be the mean, bitchy person on campus, but she wasn't. She was giddy. She was always laughing. She was always making everybody feel special. And to know that her struggles now, what she struggled through, and what was brought out in this book, I see her in such a different light, you guys. So if you get your $5 in, if you want this book, because it's not just about the horrendous things that happened to these kids, it's about who they were before. Ethan, you know, how they go in and they describe Ethan and Maddie and Kaylee. Kaylee and Xana were so much alike. And, you know, who they were as people before this happened. You guys would be shocked to hear some of it. It was like, oh my God, what? Maddie? Because Maddie was the goody two shoes, right? And just with tears streaming down my eyes reading about them, because that's the first maybe 30 pages of the book was just talking about the victims and how they were and who they were as people before this. I was crying my eyes out, but with the biggest smile on my face. It was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have met these kids. You know what I mean? There's no read today, but what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to end this shortly. And I have gotten through, let me just show you. Let me get all my junk out of the way here. I read 250 pages last night. Okay, so here I am. I'm all the way here now. Like, I've already flipped these up here. I've already flipped these over. You can see all the things here. This is all new stuff. So every time you see a little thing here, this is all new stuff that we didn't know about. I've got this much more to go, which I think I will probably end tonight. So the ending of the book will probably, my review, the last review will probably be tomorrow. And once that's done, as soon as I'm done the review of this last part here tomorrow, well, tomorrow or Saturday, I'll say, I'm going to do the live draw right after. So if you want a copy of this book, like I said, I had to get it from the States. It wasn't available here yet. You can see in Canada, it goes for $41 once it's released here in Canada. But I had to buy it in the States. So when I went back in and looked at my order, it was like $56 I ended up paying between the exchange rate from Canadian funds to American funds and the duty that I have to pay at the border now with this free trade shit that's going on. Canada and US got to figure it out. And the shipping and everything, that's what it ended up costing me. But I did it for you guys. And then what I'm going to do, anybody that puts a $5 donation, super chat, through PayPal or live chat here, super stickers, super chats, or if you're a replay crew, down below, if you don't see the little heart, you can click on the three dots. There's a super thanks there. You can enter your $5 there. That puts you on the wheel, and I will send you out this book. And I know it's going to cost me at least $15 or more, depending, to ship this out because I'm in Canada. You guys are in the States. So you have to live in Canada or the US, though. I can't afford to ship this to the UK or something. So if you do want this book, and I'm telling you, the first 30, 40 pages are going to make you cry because it's all about these four and who they actually were, what they stood for, their demeanors, you know. I just love it. I just, and I'll probably end up buying another copy for myself. I don't know. But, yeah. So I think that's what I'll do. What I'll probably do is, I was going to say maybe I'll just order another one and give the brand new one because I've got these pages like bent over in the corners. I mean, it does go right back, but still it's got all my markings and stuff in it. There's highlights that I've highlighted. Okay. Did it disappear? Hang on. There we go. You can see some of this I've highlighted. So I don't know. It all depends if I can order it now in Canada without having to pay the US exchange rate and duty and everything. If I can get it now in Canada, I will order a brand new one, and that will be the one I ship out. We'll find out. I'll probably check tonight or tomorrow because they may have released it in Canada by now. Because this was released first in the States on Monday, and that's where I got mine from. So, and I paid for the express shipping. So, yeah, they work, Carol. Like, oh my God. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Jean says, Willow, I'm the same age as you next Wednesday, July 23rd. I just turned 61 in December. But apparently I still don't look it, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I don't care. Once you hit 60, you don't care. I'm not out to impress anybody. But, yeah. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to set up part 2. And we're going to go over most of these pages that I got through last night. And I'll give you guys the new information and stuff that I feel like you guys are going to want to know. But like I said, oh, Sarah, I get it. And me, it's like, I don't know if I can get in trouble, but because it's a new release. See here, they're talking chapter 2 is all about Maddie, right? And it's like, can I read this? I don't want to read it word for word and then get a copyright or something because this guy's very well known. So all I'm going to say is I've told you a little bit. And I think the first 30 to 40 pages are worth the price of this book. Never mind everything else that we find out in this book. There's things about Hunter Johnson that we're going to go over this afternoon, you guys. Oh my God. I started crying again. And it's like, it brought me back to when I lost my cousin. I was 14 when he was killed in the car that was in front of me. He was in the car in front of me, and I was in the car behind. And there was an accident and he died. And I'm trying to pull him out of the car and everything. But he's dead already. But anyway, and I just felt for Hunter with what he was going through, losing his best friend. I'm going to discuss that this afternoon, you guys. Give me about an hour or so, just so I can let my voice rest a little bit. And we're going to go over it with the new stuff that I found out. There's some more stuff here about the Papa Rogers thing and stuff like that. How all of a sudden he goes ghost once there's an arrest. And he was still posting right up until the night of his arrest. The night that he was arrested, from then on, there's not one more post from Papa Rogers. So I do believe he was Papa Rogers. Also, there was, I want to say this, I want to get this out there too so it's not misconstrued. I made a post that there was things going around on major social, or not social, but media outlets, like major ones, that was saying that Bryan Kohberger's parents have got a book deal already and all this stuff. The judge didn't say nothing about his family not being able to profit, but any profits that Bryan Kohberger would get from telling his story would be confiscated and go to the victims. But the judge never said nothing. And hopefully he does at sentencing, because he was thrown off guard too. He wasn't aware of this deal being made in advance either, right? So I hope he says something in the sentencing that restricts his family also from profiting off of these deaths or any movies or anything like that that they may do. I don't know if he can in the States, but anyway, I hope there's something there. But I know that if Bryan Kohberger, any interviews or anything that Bryan Kohberger does, he cannot, any payment he gets for that goes direct to the families. So what's he going to do? And the judge even stated, you guys, that he's got to be careful with what he unseals in case Bryan Kohberger appeals. So he didn't say it just once, he said it twice. So yeah, and even one lawyer, because somebody, one of my subscribers brought up, well, I'm a subscriber of a psychic channel, and she said that Bryan Kohberger can still appeal. And this lawyer, who is still practicing, said, nope, she's wrong. No, he can't. Nope, absolutely not. He's given up his rights. Nope, he can't. So I'm wondering if this lawyer will apologize. I doubt it. And he's got a huge following. Not a bad-looking guy either. But anyway, I told you, I don't blow things out my ass. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We just seen that the judge is releasing and lifting the non-dissemination order, but he is still keeping everything under seal. That is sealed until after the sentencing. If sentencing happens, we don't know what Bryan Kohberger's got up his sleeve. He can turn around and say, I'm withdrawing my plea. Boom, ba-doom. It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me whatsoever. I've got a little turning in my stomach about it, but it's not overwhelming. So is he, maybe, does that mean he's debating it? And now that he knows that the non-dissemination order is lifted, as of right now, it's lifted, and that all the documents that are sealed are going to be unsealed once he's sentenced, he may have second thoughts. Because if it's lifted now, and then come next week, he says, I've changed my mind, he can now use that in his appeal too. The non-dissemination order was lifted, blah, 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 blah. You're going to be surprised at what he comes up with, you guys. I do not put nothing past him, and I can tell you right now, I told you a month ago, the wheels are turning on what he's going to pull next, right? And then this plea thing, I told you, he's not done. This plea, it's not the end for Bryan Kohberger. He's not done. I told you that he's going to appeal, and I was attacked for it. But anyway, not by you guys. You guys are all right. You guys are cool. He's going to. He's going to. No, he's an ass, but he's hot. Summer Dawn knows who I'm talking about, I think. Thank you, Linda, for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. At Willow, it's 1:20 p.m. Eastern. What time difference will there be between now and the next presentation? When I end this stream, it'll be an hour. So right now I'm at 25 after 1. So I want to try and get something to eat that's going to coat my throat a little bit. and then I will jump back on. Once I end this live, I will put up the thumbnail for the next one. So give me about 45 minutes from now, and I'll be back on to go over the second part of what I found in the book. Tomorrow or Saturday, we'll do the third part, and then I am going to do the live draw for the book. And one of you that have donated $5 in Super Chat or PayPal, because I do have some donations that came in through PayPal also. And I've got K-Mitch that did a super thanks on yesterday's video. And I got Des that did it in the video. So I've got Shell's got 2 entries because she gave $10. So that's 2 entries on the wheel. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries so far. So you guys have got good odds of winning this. For $5, like even in the States, this book is, I can't see it, $32.50. But I paid over $50. You guys didn't get the notification? Well, you're going to have to go back and write. So give me 45 minutes, you guys. We're going to be back live, and I'm going to go over the next segment of the book. And then tomorrow or Saturday will be the final one, and then I will draw for the book. Okay, so if you want this book and you want to hear all the good stuff, because I don't think I can just sit here and read it, or I would to you. The first 30, 40, even maybe 50 pages are all about who these kids were before this happened. Okay, and I'm telling you, I was in tears. And it's like, I wish I could have just hugged them. Ooh, give them big hugs, just like I would my kids. Big hugs. Like, they could be a little devilish, you know what I mean? But with so much good intention. So, okay, with that being said, you guys, let me go. I'm going to try and get something to eat so it coats my throat a little bit because my throat is starting to hurt. And then we'll be back. As soon as I end this live, I will put up the thumbnail. So make sure you set your notification. As soon as you see the thumbnail, it will be under the live tab. I paid for 10 copies for one. Huh? I don't. Sarah Smith says, I guarantee you 100% paid for 10 copies for one. I don't know what that means. Oh, that I 100% paid for 10 copies for one. Yeah, it was over $50 by the time I had to pay. I get it now, Sarah. By the time I had to pay the exchange from Canadian to US dollars, and then they nailed it at the border because of this free trade crap, I had to pay duty on it because it was over $50. And shipping, I had to pay it all. So it was well over $50. But anyway, I do this for you guys. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you guys with your super chats and your PayPals, because that helps me to be able to continue to do this stuff for you guys. Okay? So with that being said, you guys, give me 45 minutes. I'm going to go and get the thumbnail up right now so you guys can come back, set your notification for it, and we'll go over the next part of the book. I will see you then. I'm going to end it like I always do. Please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Always be aware of your surroundings. I love you guys to the moon and back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching with me. I love you guys. Bye-bye for now.